Some letters are never sent. They live folded in a drawer, hidden between the pages of an old book, or tucked inside a box that only gets opened once in a while. They aren't left unsent because they aren't important. In fact, it's the opposite. They are too important. Too personal. They hold thoughts and feelings meant for one specific person, someone who hasn't even arrived yet. This is one of those letters. It doesn't begin with "Dear," or with a long, proper introduction. It begins quietly, almost like a thought that escaped in the middle of the night, a whisper that barely made it onto paper, wherever you are. And the man behind those words? Johnny Depp. But not the Johnny Depp the world is used to seeing. Not the charming pirate on screen. Not the man in the eyeliner and the hat, giving witty interviews. Not the figure surrounded by flashing cameras and crowds screaming his name. No. This is Johnny, alone in a quiet room, sitting with a pen in his hand, letting the weight of unspoken thoughts settle into the air before they find their place on the page. He isn't writing to a fan. He isn't writing to someone who wants the image of him the world has created. He's writing to one person. The only person he feels this space inside him belongs to. The lamp on his desk casts a soft, golden light. There's no rush. Outside, life keeps moving at its usual frantic pace, cars rumble by, footsteps echo in the street, but in here, there's only the sound of his pen scratching the paper, the faint clink of his rings against the wood when he pauses to think. I don't know your name yet, he writes, but I know you're out there. I know the way the air will feel different the first time you walk into a room I'm in. I know I'll recognize you before I understand why. And you'll feel it too. He leans back for a moment, his mind wandering through possibilities. Have they already been in the same place without realizing it? Maybe she was in a coffee shop he visited one rainy afternoon, sitting by the window with a book, unaware of the man 2 tables away glancing at her without knowing why. Maybe they walked past each other in some busy street, each lost in their own thoughts, their umbrellas hiding their faces from the rain. Maybe in an airport somewhere, among hundreds of rushing travelers, their shoulders brushed for just a second. He doesn't write these as regrets. There's no sadness in the idea that they've missed each other. Only wonder. Because to him, love isn't about chasing. It isn't about searching every face. It's about timing, the kind of timing you can't control, no matter who you are. He knows that the space in his heart reserved for her is still there, untouched. It's been there through years of noise, through bright lights and crowded rooms, through applause and interviews and moments when the world seemed to be watching his every move. It's not emptiness. It's readiness. Like a room waiting for its rightful guest, already lit, already warm, already prepared. He writes slowly, thinking about how the world sees people like him. There's an assumption that fame means endless options, endless connections. But admiration isn't the same as love. Attraction isn't the same as belonging. And being wanted by many isn't the same as being understood by one. He's lived long enough to know the difference. Too often, people fall in love with a version of someone that isn't real. The character from the movies. The carefully posed photograph. The idea shaped by interviews and magazine covers. But he's not waiting for someone who wants the image. He's waiting for someone who sees the man who exists when the makeup is off, when the stage is empty, when the world isn't looking. The man who can sit in the quiet, sip his coffee, and not feel the need to fill the silence with anything other than truth. He lets the pen rest, his thoughts drifting to the details that matter to him, the small, seemingly insignificant things that would tell him this is her. The sound of her laugh when it's real and unguarded. The way her eyes move when she's curious. The way she looks at the world when she thinks no one's watching. The way her voice might soften when she talks about something she loves. Those details, he knows, will be louder than any introduction. There's hope in every line he writes, but it's not rushed or desperate. It's steady, calm, patient. He's not living his life in a constant search. He's living it fully, knowing that when she appears, he'll be ready. When we meet, he writes, we'll know. We won't need grand gestures to prove it. We won't need to convince each other. It will just be there, in the way you hold my gaze, in the way I feel when you speak. We'll know. He thinks about how this kind of connection can't be staged. It's not a scene from a movie. It's not a performance. It's something that happens in the space between words, in the shared silence, in the feeling that settles between two people when they found what they didn't even realize they were missing. The letter grows softer now, more personal. He begins to speak of gratitude, for the journey that has led him here, for the heartbreaks that taught him what not to settle for the quiet nights that reminded him of the difference between loneliness and solitude. He admits that every wrong turn, every disappointment, every goodbye was shaping him into the man who would be ready when she finally appeared. And then there's the wondering, has she felt it too? That quiet ache of waiting without a name or a face to attach it to. Has she stood in a crowded place and felt, for no reason, that someone she's meant to know was nearby? Has she had nights where she thought about someone she's never met and somehow missed them anyway? He imagines she's been through her own storms, fought her own battles, built her own walls. Maybe she's learned the hard way who she is and what she deserves. Maybe, without realizing it, they've both been becoming the people they were meant to meet. When I find you, he writes, I won't need to explain myself. You'll understand without me saying a word. You'll see the parts of me the world misunderstood and you won't flinch. You'll know the man I really am, not just the man they think I am. And I'll see you too, all of you. Not just the smile you show the world, but the weight you've carried and the strength you've built. The pen moves more easily now. There's no hesitation. The words pour out as though they've been waiting to be freed. The letter shifts from longing to trust that the right time will come, trust that they will recognize each other without question, trust that all the years of waiting will feel like nothing once the moment arrives. He doesn't sign the letter. He doesn't date it. Because this isn't tied to a single day or year. This is a message meant to exist outside of time. It's for whenever it's found, whenever it's read, whenever it's meant to be understood. Somewhere, she's living her life right now. She could be across the ocean, in another city, or just a few streets away. She might be laughing with friends, working late, reading in bed, or walking down a busy street, unaware that a letter with her essence written into every line is waiting. He folds the paper gently, the way you handle something fragile but strong. There's no sadness in his eyes. Just a quiet certainty. Because he knows that love, real love, doesn't need to be chased. It doesn't need to be forced. It arrives when it's meant to, and when it does, it feels like it's been there all along. Wherever she is, he knows she'll understand.